afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Cedar Bay Art of the Possible webinar series. My name is Jo Rosser. I am the Cedar Bay Sales Manager, and I'm joined today by Jay Hopkinson. He's a Senior Supply Chain Consultant. And Jay's going to take you through the CRM solution this afternoon. And he's just going to show you how lovely and streamlined it can be, and just walk through the process end to end that potentially you could be using to try and support your business. So just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get going. We will have some interactive sessions throughout this presentation, a couple of polling questions, so they'll come up and we really would appreciate your input on those. Obviously the microphones are on mute while Jay's talking, but we have got an opportunity for you to ask some questions. So if you use the box on the right hand side of your screen, there is an ability there for you just to drop in a couple of questions, and we'll do our best to respond to those at the end of the call. We will also respond to some of them after the webinar, so don't worry if you don't get a response live on air, as it were. We will come back to you after this, and we will make sure that you do get some sort of response from us. As per normal, the webinar will be recorded, and we will have a copy of this webinar on the info hub within the Cedar Bay website. So thoroughly recommend you keep an eye on that, and also keep an eye out for the future webinars. I will let you know when the next one is coming up in the series, but the website does have a lot of information there that you may just find useful. So okay, without any further ado, let's move forward. And I'll introduce you to Jay. And Jay, please, would you like to go through the agenda and get us started?
Sure, thank you, Jo. So thank you everybody for attending. Here's what we'll be covering today. So we're going to go through an end-to-end process from the basics of CRM leads all the way through to invoicing of customer sales. So the whole journey, the whole life cycle. We'll show how leads can progress through prospects and opportunity management. They can be converted through to sales quotations. Quotations become orders. Orders can continue to flow through to fulfillment and ultimately completion and invoicing. We'll also take a high-level view of some of the pipeline analysis and lobby opportunities. In terms of a workflow, the end-to-end, so a typical flow consists of lead qualification, request for quotation, the RFQ, and this is all done on IFS. So the conversion through to a prospect is IFS, business opportunities IFS, sales quotations IFS, customer order IFS, demand requisitions IFS, production and purchasing IFS, and shipment and invoicing are all done on IFS. First thing I'm going to show you is how to take leads and qualify them. A lead by IFS definition is a potential customer that we've got very bare minimum information about. And we'd like to record the activity undertaken to bring them into the business as a customer, or we qualify them out so that we can focus on the real opportunities that bring value. If we're going to record business opportunities against existing customers, which you can do, you can skip fully the lead stage and go straight into opportunities and sales quotations. Today I'm going to show you everything using the Arena client on apps 10. Everything I'm showing you today is achievable on apps 9 also. And on apps 9 you'll be using right mouse button clicks rather than what Arena offers you, which is context sensitive buttons. But first though, we have a poll question.
Okay, so this is the first of our poll questions. If you wouldn't mind just taking a minute just to respond to that, we would appreciate it. Just need a quick button press, if that's okay. Okay, pretty rapid, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, Jay, I think you can move on, and you'll be interested to know that a lot of the clients on the call today are not using CRM at the moment, so you've got a big opportunity here to persuade them to do so, Jay.
And tell the whole truth.
The whole truth, exactly.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So thank you for your response. Firstly, I'm going to talk to you about business leads on IFS. So like I mentioned earlier, we've got basic information about them. So it's really a qualification and validation stage to see if we want to progress them through opportunities and quotations, or whether we don't actually want to do that. Good thing about the Arena client is it's through a browser. It's really simple to connect to contacts. So contact registration, very, very simple. Contacts are registered on here. You've got things like the initial stage of the lead. So you can look at how far you've progressed your lead through to qualification and choose where you spend the energy. Also things like potential. So we can define these values and allow us to filter and segregate our leads in terms of high, medium, and low potential. Also, we can do things like filter by source. So we look at how the leads came into the business. All these menus are sortable on every column heading with a simple click. And all the menus that build, so buttons that appear on screen, are context sensitive. So things like zooming off to details is quite obvious. That's something we can do. That's available in a menu because that's what we can do from this screen. But throughout the whole Arena application, that functionality is standard. So if we're going to look at the details of a particular lead in more detail, so leads are where we capture information. So when we capture things like addresses, so these are delivery points or invoice points, we can capture them right down at the lead stage. Contacts, so Kimberly Johns there, who I showed you from the previous screen, is a contact connected to the lead. I can associate representatives with leads, so I can filter from a representative view and see the leads that I am connected to. I can also see activities that have taken place. So activities are things like making a phone call, sending a brochure, a site visit, but right down at lead stage, this is where we're doing that qualification. Okay. At some point, we'll make a decision as to whether that lead is progressible or not. So this is done through a simple conversion. And after we convert the lead, which is a button on the lead, we are offered a dialog box where we can enter the additional information. So this is where we would enter the customer stat group if that's something that's important to us. And we'd also say whether this customer is a full customer or whether it's just going to stay at prospect at this point in time. Difference between a prospect customer and a customer is whether they are set up financially to transact with. That's the simple difference. Also, when we turn a lead into a customer, we can decide whether we use a specific template to convert the customer. And templates can contain a lot more information, general information about customers, rather than having to key them in each time. Okay, so I'm going to take you to the a business opportunity overview screen. So this is where we decided that we want to go through an opportunity and we're going to want to do some quotations. So this is a snapshot overview of our opportunity pot. And I'll show you things on there that's quite useful to look at. So status of opportunities are either cancelled, which means that we've decided not to do anything with them, that we've qualified them out. On hold means we may come back to them at some point, but we're not quite ready. Close means we've either won or lost the opportunity, which would lead us into the sales quotation and sales order delivery. It's simple to copy existing opportunities. So if we've got an opportunity that's going to be revisited on an alternate site for the same customer, we can copy it, change the site that opportunity is against. We can also create business activities, so we can create visits in advance of the visit. We can create phone calls and send brochures, and we can even provide additional connections into Outlook if required, so business mail. We can very quickly see the status of all our opportunities, so that's all filterable. So things that are closed, I really wouldn't want to know about in an active environment, but I would want for history. Down at the bottom of the opportunity will be the opportunity lines. So opportunity lines are parts, inventory or services that we want to quote for. And what we can do is submit sales quotations to customers, again, by a context-sensitive button that appears. So once we've got lines added, that button says, "Hi, I want to send a sales quotation." It's pretty easy to send. So if I hit the sales quotation button, this is a sales quotation. So I'm just flowing through the system here. I'm clicking buttons, I'm progressing. I can go backwards and forwards anytime I like. Everything's connected. So the sales quotation itself can be sent to the customer by hitting the share button. And the share button will pop a dialog box up that guides us through how we want to share it. Okay. We can share it by email, share it by printing. We can create copies of PDF archive documents for future reference. So the communication is relatively straightforward. Contact will have an email address, and that's what we use to direct emails. On opportunities, we have opportunity lines, and opportunity lines can have multiple sales quotations. So we have things like quotation history available to us if there is some. So how a quotations change over time. Back at the opportunity level, we can also have revision control. So an opportunity can have multiple iterations of sales quotations for the same opportunity. And that's got its own history that is auditable. And also you can win an old revision rather than a new revision. It allows you to do things like offer better quantity breaks on one revision compared to another, or an alternate service on one quotation to another. One other useful function is from the opportunity itself, we can get to see what the capability is. So how can we fulfill the demand? So again, we're coming in from the CRM world into operational information now. So we're referencing part numbers, so therefore we can do stock checks. Okay. So at some point, hopefully, we'll close out the opportunity with a win. Okay, a couple of methods of doing it. One is from the opportunity, hitting the hitting the close button, entering a close status of 1. We're offered a predefined drop-down list of reasons, and then we just, if we want, put some additional notes in there, and this gets stored against the opportunity, and the opportunity status will change to closed. From sales quotation, we've got now the option to create an order. So create order is a one-button click again. So we're going straight from lead to opportunity to quotation to order. So as you can see, all this navigation is extremely straightforward. A slightly alternate method of doing that is to win and create the order at the same time. So this is where we can close out the opportunity and create an order and transfer all the prices across from the sales quotation in one hit. So this is a little bit more powerful, but also a little bit more efficient. So if I take you through to the customer order that's been generated by that win. So here we're offered the customer order. This contains all the useful bits of information we've gathered all along the journey. So at lead stage, where we've captured addresses, contacts, opportunity information, we've captured the lines that they want. These all flow through to the customer order. But we also get the connection back to the representative as well. So we can see that the representative who won the opportunity is connected still, so they get to see progress. Okay. At the order level, we can add additional things that we may have missed on the quotation, such as charges, so insurance charges, special delivery carriage charges, certificate of conformities. There may have been lines on the quotation where we didn't have a fixed price to be agreed. So this is where the charges can be applied without having any requirement to go backwards to the quotation. So charge tab, very simple. Click add new charges, next. We can also navigate through, we're now into operational roles, we navigate through to the shipment itself. Shipment is where we are going to handle the dispatch and delivery of the product to the customer. As we are now in the operational world, the visibility of this order is available for everybody who works within IFS. So people involved in material requirement planning calculations, capacity requirement planning calculations for manufacturing, procurement, warehouse management, they all get to see that this is a demand on the system, which means it's then available for other screens and for lobbies for those of you on apps 9 and above. So if I navigate through to the shipment, so from the shipment screen, again, I've just gone lead all the way through now to shipment stage, very simply. This is where we can process the dispatch through to completion. So inventory can be automatically reserved or manually reserved, depending on how we want to process the order. Inventory from the screen can be reported. So we're all doing this from one space. So this is our dispatch team reserving the stock, validating the correct stock and report picking. Documentation can be used, so we can have pick lists if we need to print them to do the picking. We can print off a packing list at the end. Labeling, consignment notes, bill of lading, and shipment delivery notes. So these are all documents that are useful for our dispatch. We can also process a shipment through to completion, and we can send electronic advanced shipment notifications for those that work in distribution, ASNs. So these can be communicated via EDI or Connect services directly to your customers in advance of the shipment. So they can prepare for that and know when the shipment is anticipated. So once we've completed the shipment, so we're going end to end, we come back to the order. On the order, we can now see that this has been delivered. So once an order is delivered, then that's available for invoicing. And the invoice workflow will be however we set up on the customer. So it'll either be a shipment invoice or a customer order invoice or a collective monthly invoice, all on customer setup. So that's kind of a IFS process methodology, how we navigate through. But if you want to see something a little more interesting, we've got what we call business opportunity pipeline charts. Okay, so pipeline charts are a way of visualizing the opportunities that we have in our pipeline, and we can visualize this in a few different ways. So we can visualize this by filtering on information. So we can do things like aggregated views. We can look at estimated value. We can look at weighted estimated value, which is calculated from the likelihood of the opportunity. So an opportunity is worth $1 million, but we're still at 25% likelihood. Then our weighted estimate is 250,000. This can also be viewed by different charting methods. So we've got a few samples here: column, line, donut, or funnel. So that screen I'm showing you there is a funnel, but there are alternatives. And you can also do things like control the views. So if you want a sales team to be independently viewing data compared to another sales team, you can control who sees what data. Or if you want a representative just to see their own information, that can be configured as well. So here are some different examples. So this is the same screen. I've just clicked a few sample alternatives, a few different ways of filtering, a few different outputs. So this is a great way of visualizing the pipeline. Another method of viewing our system. So from apps 9 onwards, we've got lobbies. So these are IFS lobbies. This is an example that is summarizing some sales analysis for a particular year. All the elements, all the objects on the lobby are fully editable. So you can create your own, you can hide ones you don't need, you can make the screen look like you want to look. So this is just a representative example of a lobby for sales analysis. So it's showing personal information, so targets, win level, win-loss ratios, contribution margin, etc. I can also use this to navigate back to things like my open quotes or my open opportunities with a simple click. As you can see, there's a graph example on there, and up at the top right are some links back to other lobbies, or to business objects within the environment within Arena. I show you another example. So this is an alternate lobby that could show you your CRM world. So it's all about your opportunities, your leads, your customers, and a similar kind of way. It's going to present back data, so we can look at the status of things on hold. I can look at my activities that are planned over the next week. I can look at statistically some pipeline information at the global level. I can also have links on here to other places. So top left, we've got links to create new lead, create new opportunities. So going straight into the IFS screens that we require. So lobbies are really, really useful in terms of CRM management. Lobbies don't just have to hold information about CRM. They can also hold further information in different areas. So things like stock management, things like able to see when demand and supply is going to fulfill the demand. You can do this all from lobbies. Another example would be a very simple one where I want to look at all the customer orders that are from my customers only, and the open order book. So I get to select any of these numbers and drill into the information. So the one at the top left is a click to the orders in a plan status. They're ones that have not been released to make them available for dispatch. I've got the released orders, so they're ones that have been made available. Reserved means stock has been allocated. Picked means stock has been allocated and picked against the order. Partially delivered means we've dispatched orders but not completely, so they're quite useful to know that. Delivered means fully delivered the orders, and delivered not invoiced is the amount of delivered orders we have in the system that finance have not yet raised the invoice for. Back on screen. So in summary then, today we've taken a look at lead generation and qualification. We've progressed this through to prospect management, and we've managed the opportunities and sales quotations all through IFS in a sequence, a control sequence. Post quotation, we flowed this through the winning steps. So we won the deal, and we converted the order, and we released the order for operations. We fulfilled the order, and ultimately we invoiced the customer for that delivery. So the use of opportunity pipeline analysis screens and lobbies, we can see past, present and future orders and their potential in very simple, easy ways. Hopefully that was useful information, and thank you for listening. I think we have a poll question next.
Yes, we do. We've also got a few other questions coming in as well, Jay. So if you just be prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could just answer this question, we really would appreciate that. And while they're doing that, Jay, if I could just ask you a question. Roman has come in and asked if the system is customizable in any way. Can they add extra fields, and can they add things in terms of value sets in there should they wish to do so?
Absolutely. So Arena, like the EE client from, let's say, Apps 9 onwards, so Arena and EE are both customizable. So custom fields can be added and can be displayed in Arena as they can in EE, Enterprise Explorer. So yeah, all managed in the same way.
Perfect. Okay, and another one, upon lead conversion, is there a possibility to automatically generate an opportunity?
On the conversion, we don't have that, but we can have what they call opportunity templates. So if we've got a regularly kind of opportunity, we could have that so it's created using a template, and it'll have lines in that we predefine, and the header for the opportunity will be filled in with predefined information. You can also do rather a clever thing with what they call process flow. So you can at the opportunity level determine the steps required to turn the opportunity into a sales quotation and eventually a sales order. An automatic control of the percentage likelihood will be affected by those steps. So you can put some really cool things in.
Perfect. Okay. Another one, is it possible to customize the opportunity stages to reflect the stages currently in use?
Absolutely. So the stages I showed you on screen today were ones that I'd created. They're not an IFS series stages, are the ones that I've decided are important to the business. So yeah, fully in control.
Okay. Another one might be a bit of a challenge for you to do right here and now, but you might be able to shed some light on it. In regard to the approval process and how this works through the estimated process, how does a quotation get approved for delivery? There's a gates and checkpoints.
If I get the understanding right, so you can have processed a predefined sequence of steps that you have to go through, and they are linked to people or people groups. So about people processing the steps, that's them approving that particular step. So with let's say a new product development, so you could have a 7-gate progress from opportunity to quotation and or customer order. You can have those gates, those steps, have predefined requirements before you can continue through the opportunity cycle.
Perfect,
if I understand the question.
Hopefully that's okay. If it's not, if you could just come back and let us know if you need something else to be clarified, that would be great. A final one. We have had an observation that the screens are not necessarily how the user would like to see them. How easy is it for you to, say, take information off a screen and to sort of customize the screen and the view of the data that you're looking at?
Sure. So the Arena client layout is fully customizable. So I had a particular theme on there just so it wasn't just a lump of white screen at me. It's quite bright. But you have multiple themes where you can have different contrasts or different schemas. But you can also move fields around quite easily. You can also hide things you don't want to see. So if, for instance, you want to hide some of the date fields from the screen, you can simply make them invisible on Arena, and then they won't appear. You can also do that for yourself, but you can also apply that same profile globally with a simple click of a button, all from the Arena front end. So yeah, all possible.
Perfect. Okay. I have had another one. Rather than create an order, can you create a work order instead from within CRM?
Kind of, but I think I need to go into more detail outside of the presentation on that.
No problem. What we can do is give you the individual concerned. Perhaps you can contact that person directly, if
Absolutely.
that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I have another one, which is more of a general one, and that is what are the benefits of the Arena client over EE with the CRM?
Sure. So for me, the main kind of driver is with Arena, you are offered your next steps. You don't have to think, what can I do? You are offered this with buttons that appear, context sensitive buttons. So if I've not confirmed a opportunity, I do not have a button that says sales quotation. I have one that's called estimation. But once I've confirmed an opportunity, that button no longer exists as estimation. It appears as sales quotation. So EE, you'd be right clicking and saying, what can I do next? Whereas Arena says, this is what you can do next. It's kind of moving us forward towards the ultimate goal, which is the sale. Does that make sense?
That sounds good. Thank you.
Also, one other thing, Arena is completely device independent. So EE, you can't run on a Mac without having a Windows emulator. Arena will run on Apple, iOS, Android, Windows. Doesn't really matter. It's all through a browser interface rather than a client. That's quite important.
Absolutely, yes, that can be quite useful for people. Okay, one more from somebody with a similar perspective to me. Are we able to change font or font size? I think that's supposed to be.
I love the IFS font. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that question, but we can find out.
Okay, no problem. I think there's a couple of people here, I think Linda and Jo, that potentially need a little bit more time. So perhaps, we could get in contact and see if there's anything else that we can do to help them. I think, yeah. But Linda, I've read your comment about Teletubbies. Totally agree. Okay.
I won't ask.
No, I think that's probably it for now. I think if we could just page forward, perhaps if I just wrap up the presentation with the date and the time of the next one. Before I do so, please, I would like to thank everybody for attending. We do appreciate all the questions and the interest in today's session. The next session is on the 11th of March. It's all about DDMRP, and our manufacturing consultant Chris will be running through that one with the support of Roger, our MD, CEO. So I think with that, thank you ever so much once again. Thank you, Jay, for your efforts on this. Take care, everybody, and we will close the session as of there.